In this lesson now, we're going to look at the documentation functionality of dbt. And ultimately what it does is it allows you to have a built-in website that functions as a data dictionary. So we'll have descriptions of columns, show all the tests, all the SQL. This is the type of thing that stakeholders always want to see. They want to see a data dictionary. They want to know what things mean. And this now allows you to build this within your workflow, and you don't need to be a web developer to do it. So let's look at this a little closely. So we're back here in our project, and I want to add a little bit more description to one of our files just to give a good example of what this can do. So we're going to go to our YAML file. Remember earlier I mentioned you can add all sorts of description here if you want to. And what I'm going to do is copy and paste something that's already built out more of this. So we'll add a description and just list all the rest of the columns here. Here it is. So I've added a description to the model. We've added all of the other columns, added a description to this column. We have our tests here. I've added another test here to say what are the accepted values for this column. And like I mentioned, you can get as in depth or not as you want with this, but we'll see why this is really important and why it's something you would want to consider adding as part of your workflow to build out your documentation for every layer. Now, to create the website, there's two commands. The first one is dbt docs generate. And essentially what this is going to do is look at your project, compile it just like everything else, and then write to a specific file that is catalog.json. And that's another one in your project. So it's called catalog.json. I'm not going to open it because it's a really big file and it can take some time. But ultimately it writes your project as a big JSON file. And now to create a website, what you do is the next command, which is dbt docs serve. And what that's going to do is serve up a website. We can see just like this, pre-built. And over here, we can see there's two views. We have it by the project and by the database. We have it by analytics dev here because we didn't specify the target to be prod, but you could obviously serve this and generate it for production. We can see everything in here. And when we click on this, look, you could see all the columns. We have our description that we added. And so people can see this. We can see, different tests, accepted values, all this stuff. I mean, the sources, we can look at the SQL that is written under the hood, and all this in just two commands. I mean, it's built right in. It's really amazing. So again, you can do it by the database or by the project and, go through it this way. See everything is transparent for your stakeholders to see, just like this. And the other thing I want to show, so there's two things here. One, you can do a search. So you could say, let's say we want to look for Avenger ID. I don't know. You can see everywhere that it comes up. Click on it and it'll take you right to it. All of this pre-built, nothing you have to design. Now, the other thing here is the lineage graph. And we briefly touched on the lineage graph before, but this, I think, helps put into perspective why using the built-in ref and source functions and all that is really helpful and really important for you to use with dbt. So this selector down here is going to be just like when we were selecting from different models. It's the same syntax, but let's just get rid of everything here. And here we can see our entire project. You can move stuff around if you want, but we can see, here is where everything comes from. We can change the resources. Maybe we don't want to see tests or seeds, something like that. We can just see models. So now you can see here are our sources, here are the staging layers, and you can just get a nice visual of your project and how everything flows together. But this doesn't connect this way unless you use those ref functions. That's how it understands the dependencies and can put this together for you. Let's say you have a stakeholder using this report and they want to understand what is feeding into it. You can take a look at this, focus on the node, and now you can see everything that's coming into it and drill into this as much as you want, then go back to here and see the queries. So it's all very transparent. And in my opinion, this is one of the best features of dbt. And all this goes back to that fundamental viewpoint of treating your code and your analytics platform as an asset. That's documentation. And I encourage you to play around with this one and check it out.